Good morning, everyone. Happy hump day. How's everyone doing this morning? Oh my goodness. Ladybug decided she's going to smack food as soon as I went live. If you hear her, I'm sorry. Hey, Austin James. Good to see you. The Chatterbox, Cheryl Lynn, Cement Shoes. I got your emails. Thank you, by the way. Kathy C. It's good to see you. I've been enjoying seeing you come into the chat, Kathy. Hey, Shine On. Good morning, or what? It's good night. Where you're at, it's nighttime. How's everyone doing this morning? So this morning we're going to be talking about the Susan Powell case. I've been trying to decide all morning, like, what should I read? I've got like 2 or 3 little things. I found an article, guys, with the whole timeline. That includes Josh Powell's interview with police. But here's the thing about it. It's like 40-some minutes long, so we can't watch the whole thing. But there's some other videos included. There's a video of Susan that she recorded herself. She was recording some of her assets around the home and showing where Josh had destroyed the house. Because he was a control freak, a very violent person. Let's see. Which one do I want to start out with? I think I'll read them both. We'll do the timeline second. Let me see. Let me find the other article. I want to look at the chat before we get started, though. Hey, Gabby. It's 10 past midnight there. Oh, my goodness. It's almost 10:40 here, a.m. There's quite a time difference there, isn't there? Okay, so it's been like 13 years, I believe, since Susan Powell disappeared. It's hard to believe. I was watching one of Josh Powell's interview with a news reporter, and man, he is a complete weirdo in this interview. He's standing outside of his home, got a pair of like sweatpants on, and the reporter's asking him these questions, and Josh has to like pause. Like every time he has to think about what he's going to say, and he really doesn't answer any questions. I would have to say that's probably the most awkward news interview I've ever watched in my life. And I really hope we don't get interrupted this morning. I totally forgot that they were delivering Mark's John Deere riding mower today. He's actually outside waiting on them. I hope they don't come on time. I forgot about it, or I would have scheduled this later. So, who was Susan Powell? Body of missing Utah mom never found after her husband killed son's self in murder-suicide. This article was put out March 14th, 2021. West Valley City, Utah. It's been 13 years since Susan Cox Powell disappeared from her West Valley City, Utah home. Although her case garnered national headlines, as she was presumed to have been murdered by her husband, Josh Powell, no charges were ever filed against him. Since her disappearance on December 6, 2009, her body has not been found, and there were a number of attempts by her family and relatives to declare her dead. The efforts finally came to fruition on November 14, 2019, when she was declared legally dead by the state of Utah. Susan's husband was named a person of interest in the investigation into her disappearance. On February 5th, 2012, he killed himself and their two young sons, Charles Joshua and Braden Timothy, in a murder-suicide after custody of the boys had been awarded to Susan's parents, Charles and Judy Cox. Okay, now we're going to read a little bit about Josh and Susan, their life. So, Josh Powell was born on January 20th, 1976. Oh my gosh, his birthday's near mine. Mine's the 23rd. Hold on, guys. Before we get into this, the Colonel wants in the bedroom. Daggone it. You guys do me this way every daggone morning. Come on. Get with the program. Okay. And lady has your bed, boo-boo. So now what are you going to do? These dogs are killing me. Josh Powell was born on January 20th, 1976 to Stephen and Terica Powell. Oh gosh, let me see if I can pronounce this name. Puyallup, Washington. Oh gosh, I think I hear the guys delivering the lawnmower. Josh's parents had a dysfunctional marriage, caused in large part by Steve's disaffection with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the LDS Church. According to divorce filings by Terica in 1992, Steve shared pornography with Josh and his two brothers and refused to teach or enforce limits on certain behaviors. As a teenager, Joshua allegedly killed gerbils belonging to one of his sisters and threatened his mother with a butcher knife. He also attempted suicide on at least one occasion. Josh's dad is the reason that Josh turned out to be an evil monster. By 1998, Joshua was living in Seattle as a student at the University of Washington. It was here that Powell began his first relationship with a young woman named Catherine Terry Everett, whom he had met at a local LDS church congregation. After the two moved into an apartment together, Josh became possessive towards Everett. He would have restrictions and limitations on what I could and couldn't do when it came to my family, she later recalled. If I was going to visit them, he had to come too. I couldn't go by myself. When Everett visited a friend in Utah without Josh, she decided not to return to Seattle and broke up with him over the phone. Josh met Susan Cox, a classmate at his LDS Church Institute of Religion course, during a dinner party at his Tacoma apartment in November 2000. The two began a relationship and eventually married in the Portland, Oregon Temple in April 2001. Josh had a bachelor's degree in business and worked for a number of different companies over the years, while Susan, a trained cosmetologist, took up a job with Wells Fargo Investments after the family's relocation to West Valley City, Utah, a suburb of Salt Lake City. The Powells went on to have two sons, Charles, known as Charlie, born in 2005, and Braden, born in 2007. For a brief period following their wedding, Josh and Susan lived at Stephen Powell's home in South Hill, Washington. Initially, unbeknownst to Susan, her father-in-law, Stephen, had developed an obsessive infatuation with her, which was only inflamed by their close proximity. Stephen followed Susan around the house with a camcorder, used a small mirror to spy on her while she used the bathroom, stole her underwear from her laundry, read her journals, and even posted love songs online under a pseudonym. In 2003, Stephen confessed his amorous feelings to a stunned Susan, who rejected him. The encounter was inadvertently captured by Stephen's camcorder microphone. The Powells moved out of state soon after, partly so Susan could distance herself from Stephen. Susan's journal entries and email correspondence indicated the presence of marital discord. There was tension with Joshua over his refusal to attend church services with his family and over his continued contact with Stephen, despite his father's ongoing advances towards Susan. Susan's friends also pointed to Josh's extravagant spending habits and to his extremely controlling behavior towards his wife. Josh filed for bankruptcy in 2007, declaring over $200,000 in debts. Susan recorded a video in July 2008 surveying property damage she attributed to Josh and wrote a secret will that would include the statements, "I want it documented that there is extreme turmoil in our marriage, and if I die, it may not be an accident, even if it looks like one." And we'll take a look at that video in just a minute. On the morning of December 6, 2009, Susan, Charles, Braden attended church services. A neighbor visited them at home in the afternoon, leaving about 5 p.m. This was the last time Susan was seen by someone from outside the Powell household. At first, the entire Powell family was reported missing on December 7th by relatives. Joshua's mother, Tarika, and sister, Jennifer Graves, went looking for the family at their house shortly after being informed that the children had not been dropped off at daycare that morning. They called the police when they failed to make contact. I'm going to kill Mark with that lawnmower. They called police when they failed to make contact with Joshua and Susan. The police broke into the house, fearing that the families were victims of carbon monoxide poisoning. They found no one inside, but noticed 2 box fans blowing at a wet spot on the couch. Susan did not show up at her job on December 7th. Her purse, wallet, and identification were all found at the house. Her cell phone was later found in the family's only vehicle, a Chrysler Town and Country minivan that Josh had been using. Later that day at about 5 p.m., Joshua returned home with the 2 boys and was taken to the police station for questioning. He claimed that he had left Susan sleeping at home shortly after midnight on December 7th and had taken his boys on a camping trip to Simpson Springs in western Utah. Police visited Simpson Springs on December 10th, but found no evidence of the campsite that Josh had described. They also found it suspicious that Josh would take his 2 young boys out camping in blizzard conditions after midnight when he was scheduled to go to work at his job just hours later. Josh had not told his boss that he would not be coming into work that day, and explained to police it was because he had thought it was Sunday rather than Monday. Upon searching the Powell residence on December 9th, investigators found traces of Susan's blood on the floor, life insurance policies on Susan for $1.5 million, and a handwritten letter from Susan expressing fear for her life. DNA test results released in 2013 matched one blood sample with Susan, while another sample was determined to have come from an unknown male contributor. In August 2012, West Valley City Police released documents showing that Josh took actions that were regarded as highly suspicious following Susan's disappearance. Josh liquidated Susan's retirement accounts, canceled her regularly scheduled chiropractor sessions, withdrew his children from daycare. He had also previously spoken to co-workers about how to hide a body in an abandoned mine shaft in the western Utah desert. Police interviewed the couple's elder son, Charlie, who confirmed that the camping trip Josh described took place. However, unlike his father, he stated that Susan had gone with them, and she did not return. Weeks after her disappearance, a teacher reported that Charlie had claimed that his mother was dead. Furthermore, Susan's parents, Chuck and Judy Cox, claimed that while at a daycare several months after the disappearance, Braden drew a picture of a van with 3 people in it and told carers that Mommy was in the trunk. Oh my goodness. And he was probably telling the truth. Investigators informed the media that they planned to question Josh again and subpoenaed all footage and interviews, aired and unaired, of Josh from local television stations. On December 14th, Josh retained an attorney in connection with the investigation, and police said that he grew increasingly uncooperative. A few days later, he took his sons to Puyallup, I think that's how you say it, to stay with Steve for the holidays. By December 24th, Josh was considered a person of interest in the investigation. On January 6, 2010, he returned with his brother Michael to pack the family's belongings, indicating he was moving permanently to Puyallup. I think that's how you say it. In Puyallup, I cannot say that word right, sorry guys. Josh occupied a home with his 2 sons, his father Stephen, his brothers Michael and Jonathan, and his sister Elena. Joshua indicated that he would rent out his house in Utah. It was reported that when he returned to Puyallup after he had lost his job. Soon afterwards, the website SusanPowell.org was launched, described as the official website of Susan Powell. The site's anonymous entries defended Josh as the victim of a smear campaign by Susan's family, his estranged sister Jennifer, and the LDS Church. Additional posts also speculated that Susan's disappearance was connected to that of Stephen Kosher, a former journalist who vanished the same week as Susan, and that the two had run off to Brazil together. Joshua and Stephen were widely believed to have written these posts. Let me just stop right there. Cement Shoes sent me an article, and it was talking about Joshua's brother Michael. And here's what Michael and Josh did. They started a troll account on Facebook, a fake account with somebody's picture, just so that they could get into a Facebook group that was dedicated to Susan's disappearance. It was run by one of Susan's friends. It was a private group. They had to be approved to get in. Anyways, cops wiretapped Josh and Michael's phones, and police overheard them discussing that a fake Facebook account that they had. I believe the name was, I've got the article, Molly Hunter or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so Josh and Steve were widely believed to have written these posts. In late 2010, both men claimed that Susan had abandoned her family due to mental illness and that she had left with another man. Susan's family rejected these claims as being unsupported by any evidence. Investigators' scrutiny extended to Steve upon learning from a friend that he had been obsessed with his son's wife. Yes, Steve is a complete weirdo, or he was a complete weirdo. He's dead now. Computer images seized from his house in 2010 turned up 4,500 images of Susan taken without her knowledge. Let me just say that again. 4,500 images of Susan taken without her knowledge. What a freaking weirdo. Including close-ups of specific body parts. Police also turned their attention to Michael, Josh's brother, after learning that he had sold his broken-down Ford Taurus to a wrecking yard in Pendleton, Oregon. Shortly after Susan's disappearance, he sold it for $100, thinking that they would crush that car, but they didn't crush the car. And he had later ordered satellite images of the lot. He was trying to figure out if he wanted those satellite images so he could see if the car was still on the lot or if they crushed it. There was some kind of evidence in that car, I believe. I believe he helped Josh hide Susan's body. Okay, Okay, so he sold it in Penland. I've lost my place. He later ordered satellite images of the lot. When police found the car, a sniffer dog indicated that a decomposing human body had been in the trunk. DNA test on the car proved inconclusive. I think Josh hid the body and then he got his brother maybe to come and maybe they moved it. On September 14, 2011, Utah authorities discovered a possible gravesite while searching Topaz Mountain, a desert area near, is it Nephi, that Josh had frequented as a campsite. There were signs of recent soil disturbances and shoveling, but after digging a few feet down, police were unable to find any remains, in spite of careful sifting of the soil. Federal anthropologists also ruled out the possibility of the site being an ancient burial ground. Police continued to examine the site for a time, but offered no explanation as to why they previously announced that the findings of remains when none had actually been confirmed. Authorities said they were following a scent detected by their sniffer dogs. Skylar's in there crybabying about something. Relations between and within the Powell and Cox family became increasingly hostile after a police raid in their home in 2011. But Josh and Stephen spoke to major news outlets regarding journals that Susan had allegedly written about the relationship between Stephen and herself. Stephen claimed that he and Susan had been falling in love prior to her disappearance, and he cited the content of her journals, written when Susan was a teenager, as evidence to support his theory that she was mentally unstable and could have run away with another man. A judge issued a permanent injunction forbidding Josh and Steve from publishing any materials from Susan's journals, ordering the pair to either return or destroy any journals already published. On September 22nd, Steve was arrested on charges of voyeurism and child pornography after police found evidence that he had secretly videotaped numerous women and young girls, including Susan. John Long, Assistant Attorney General for Washington State, said that Joshua was a subject in the child pornography investigation. A friend of Steve's claimed that he was preoccupied with pornography and was hung up on Susan sexually. Chuck Cox filed for custody of Susan's children the day after Steve was arrested. A Washington court eventually granted Cox temporary custody of the boys, ruling that Josh would have to move out of Steve's home if he wanted to regain custody. Joshua rented a house in South Hill, but authorities later alleged that he had never actually moved into the house, merely making it appear as if he had satisfied the court's instructions while continuing to reside at Steve's home. I'm telling you, this family, there's like a freaking cult. No joke, like a cult. In late September 2001, Josh's sister Jennifer stated that she believed Josh was responsible for his wife Susan Powell's disappearance. His other sister, Alina, had also been suspicious of him as well. However, she later withdrew her suspicions and felt that Josh had been unduly harassed by the investigators. By this time, West Valley City had spent more than $500,000 on the case. On September 28th, Mayor Mike Winder indicated that he felt the case was worth the expense, stating, "We feel that we are going to get to the tipping point where we will have more hot evidence than we have had in the past 2 years, and that the case was moving forward." In late 2011, Josh underwent a series of court-ordered evaluations in Washington. The evaluations by James Manley determined that Josh had adequate parenting skills, a steady employment history, and no criminal record or history of domestic violence. Well, that's wrong. He did have a history of domestic violence. He just wasn't ever arrested for it. He was never cuffed and stuff, but Susan claimed that he had hit her before. However, Manley also raised issues concerning the ongoing criminal investigation. Josh's failure to admit normal personal shortcomings, his overbearing behavior with his son, his persistent defensive and paranoia attributed to the police and media attention in conjunction with underlying narcissistic traits. And if I'm not mistaken, I listened to one of his interviews with this doctor. And I believe I listened to it here on YouTube, but it's been some time back. Or maybe it was an interview with the doctor, but the doctor said he was really rough on the boys, just like little things, like he would get on to them for, like, just like little things that kids normally do, nothing major. He was just real overbearing, real controlling. I believe he would have eventually been abusive to the boys. Okay, in the last week of January 2012, okay, I missed a part. The initial recommendation was for Josh to have visitation with his sons several times a week, supervised by a social worker. In the late week of January 2012, Utah police discovered over 400 images of simulated child pornography, bestiality, and incest on the computer seized from the Powell home. Now, I read this morning that that was actually found on the computer that Susan owned, but she had bought that computer off someone else. It was a used computer. Okay. The the pornography had been satched when viewed by the previous owner of the computer, which had been purchased by Susan secondhand. However, Utah authorities misled the court and accused Josh of having viewed the images. The images, while not illegal due to their being in a hand-drawn or cartoonish 3D format, were cause for great concern to Manley, particularly given Josh's earlier denial of possessing any such material. Josh was recommended to receive more thorough psychosexual evaluations and polygraph tests, but Manley suggested no change in the visitation schedule with the Powell boys. Meanwhile, Michael established a Google Sites page which claimed that Susan's parents were abusing and neglecting the boys in collision with child welfare authorities, and that West Valley City Police had both mishandled the investigation into Susan's disappearance and were harassing Josh. Lawyers for the Cox family disputed the allegations, and Google removed the site after a few days due to terms of use violations. Now we're going to get into the death of Josh and the boys. Oh my gosh, I'm going to kill Mark with that daggone lawnmower right there. He couldn't wait till I got off my live stream to use it. Ugh. Okay, on February 5th, 2012, social worker Elizabeth Griffin Hall called 911 after taking Charlie and Braden to a supervised visit at Joshua's house in South Hill. Hall, who was supposed to monitor the visits between Josh and the boys, reported that he grabbed them, would not let her through the door. Soon thereafter, the house exploded, killing Josh and the two children. Local authorities treated the case as a double murder-suicide, saying that the act appeared to have been deliberate. When authorities notified Steve, who was in jail, he didn't seem very upset by the news, but was angry towards authorities who notified him. 2 weeks later, Steve invoked his Fifth Amendment right not to answer questions regarding Susan's disappearance. Cox and others have stated they believe Stephen knew what actually happened to Susan. Steve was convicted of voyeurism charges in May 2012 in a trial which largely skirted the issue of Susan's case. After a relatively brief investigation, officials confirmed that the explosion had been deliberately planned. The official cause of death for Josh and the two boys was determined to be carbon monoxide poisoning, though the coroner also noted that both children had significant chopping injuries on their head and neck. A hatchet was recovered near Josh's body, and investigators believe that he attacked the boys with it before being overwhelmed by smoke and fumes. The fire investigation also found two 5-gallon cans of gasoline on the premises, as well as evidence that gasoline had been spread throughout the house. Friends and relatives of Joshua's told authorities that he had contacted them by emails before the incident to say goodbye. Some of them, including his local bishop, received instructions for finding his money and shutting off his utilities. Records also showed that Josh had withdrawn $7,000 from his bank account and had donated his children's toys and books to local charities the day before the incident. Joshua named Michael, his brother, as the main beneficiary to his life insurance policy. Charles, known as Charlie, and Braden are buried at Woodbine Cemetery, which also contains a memorial for their mother. Joshua's remains were cremated. On February 11, 2013, approximately 1 year after the death of Josh and the boys, Michael took his own life in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he had moved for graduate school. He jumped from a roof of a parking garage. Police had questioned Michael Powell several times in 2012 after discovering his abandoned Ford at the Oregon wrecking yard. Michael was evasive about why he left the car at the location. Utah authorities have since said they believe that Joshua and Michael were accomplices in the murder of Susan. Okay, now I'm going to look at my chat, and I got some videos that we are going to watch. Hey, Shay, Bailey. Hey, everyone that I missed. Sorry, I've been reading this. Okay, let me see. Get this shared. Where is my daggone ladder? Y'all know Mark just got his daggone lawnmower delivered, and he couldn't even wait for me to get off my live stream to use it for the first time. Was he that eager for it? Oh my God. Y'all, if he don't start back riding his motorcycle, y'all gonna be discussing me on here. He's getting on my nerves. Okay. So Tuesday, July 29th, 2008, 12:33 p.m. Susan Cox Powell records this video of herself documenting her family's assets. And where is my daggone cigarette lighter? Let me play this for y'all. I forgot there's an ad. I'm going to have to go get my lighter. I'll get this video playing and I'll run and get it. I hope I've been doing an okay job. Y'all let me know.
This is me.
I hope y'all can see this.
July 29, 2008. It is 12:33 Mountain Time. Covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible. Charlie, say hi.
I hope this is playing for y'all. Ah, I've messed everything up. Hold on. Okay. Ah, the browser quit sharing. What in the world happened? Share audio. Okay.
I just remembered. Whoops. Lens cap on. I just remembered Beautiful diamond necklace my mom bought. One set of diamond earrings. Another set of diamond earrings. A rigid drill, some type of rigid sander, and a rigid saw.
Damn, it's a mess.
And there's our food supply again. Guess I'll go back in here.
Must be preppers. They were preppers.
Peek. Put the safe on. Here's our boxes of clothing and stuff. Hold on, Charlie. Stay right there. Hold on. No. I have to open this. So stay there. Hold on. Okay, hurry up. Get in so I can shut the door. Why do you have that stapler? Okay. So, got checkbooks, bunch of high 8 tapes. All these files. No, leave the paper alone.
We are hearing for the first time for the man picked by the...
Now there's another video. Let me get the ad done. Let me make sure it's screen shared. Okay. I hate stinking ads. He keeps sniffing his nose. It's so annoying.
Called my attorneys, and they said I should definitely have an attorney.
What's that?
I called my attorneys, which is prepaid legal,
Okay.
and they said that I should definitely have an attorney.
If I didn't read you your Miranda rights. Have I?
That's what they said.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this then, okay? This is, do you feel like you're under arrest?
I don't know. I didn't even think it was that. It didn't even sink in yesterday, but I don't know where she's at, and she ain't back yet.
Okay. Okay. So you don't know if you don't know if you feel like you're under arrest or not?
I feel like you guys are. I mean, I already told you guys everything I can think of, and I haven't. Oh, and I did think of only one thing. She has another friend that I wasn't even thinking of. It's one of her closest friends is Kiersey.
Okay. Well, let me explain something to you, Josh, okay?
But I can't even think straight.
Okay. Let me explain something to you. You're not under arrest, okay? If you were under arrest, I would have came to your home, I would have put handcuffs on you, and I would have brought you here, okay? So understand that right now, you're not under arrest for anything, okay? The problem we have and what we're investigating is what? A missing person, right?
You're right.
And that missing person being your wife. And initially, this all turned out to be basically missing people, an entire family. And that's why we were notified, okay?
Okay.
And that's why we were at your home. That's why we broke the window into your home to make sure that if there was anybody in there, that they were okay, okay? This report came from your mom, which is obviously very concerned, and that was started by the daycare provider.
By the way, she has a key to my house.
Okay.
Daycare provider has a key, so I don't know why they had to break the window when she started it and she had a key.
Okay, well, that was not brought to our attention, obviously. Okay. So the concern here is obviously, and you mentioned that we talked.
And by
Yeah,
the way,
we
I
did.
didn't.
We spoke yesterday, got some general stuff from you, all right?
Okay.
I mean, what do you want us to do? Do you not want us to talk to you? Do you not want us to talk to anybody and just leave
Well,
you alone
no,
and
I'm
hope that
going
she
to-
shows up? Is that what you want us to do?
No.
Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to do my job. You know what I'm saying? Who's the closest person to her? Who's the
Well,
closest
I mean, that's
person
me.
to her? Who?
That's me.
Exactly. So you're telling me that you do not want to come in here and talk to me and answer my questions so we can try to figure out where potentially she could be.
They told me that I should have an attorney because you don't know what's going on. They said that I'm, pretty much in over my head.
Okay. You're in over your head because your wife is missing.
Because you guys are already trying to trap me on little things, like my hands, for one.
Taking pictures of your hands showing that there's no serious injuries to your hands is trapping you how?
Well, when you guys were doing it, you're telling me you like.
I asked you where you got the
implying-
nick on your knuckle,
Well,
and you explained that it was dry skin. Okay, makes sense.
dry skin and work. I mean, I just work.
Like I said, you don't have to be here. If you don't want to be here, you can leave. I didn't force you to come here, and I'm not forcing you to stay. Okay?
He's a weirdo. Josh
If you
is.
don't want to talk, you can leave. You're
Well,
not under arrest. I haven't read
I think it
your.
would be a good idea to talk, but I think it might be a good idea to have an attorney.
What's an attorney going to do for you?
I don't know.
Answer your questions for you. I don't need the answers from an attorney. I need the answers from the husband that's closest to
I like this detective.
this missing person, to Susan. You know her better than I do. You know her better than anybody because you guys have been living together, you're married. You talk to each other every day, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, wait a sec, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. So that interview is like 55 minutes long. So we're just going to pause it. Let's go to the second clip here. Let the ad play. I hope you guys can hear. I can't see the chat. I'm going to tell you something. Josh's dad, Stephen, he was pure evil. We'll talk more about him in a minute.
Of what is going on?
Well, I need your help, Josh. I mean, you know her better than we do. She's left your boys. She's left you.
No, I don't think she did.
You don't think so?
No.
Fake crying.
Where should we
I
look
think
for
she
her?
would have gone to work. Or she would have tried to go to work.
Right.
I mean, that's what she would have been in the process of doing.
She didn't go to work. We know that. Right?
Yeah, she didn't go to work.
She didn't go to work.
I guess that's cold.
So that's why I need your help. I need your help to help me. I need you to help me find her. Tell me where I need to look for her. Because you're the closest one to her.
I just can't think of any place that she would be going aside from work, or if she was intending to go to a friend's house or something, she would have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay, so let's pause it there. I'm going to go to his news interview. Wait for the ad to play. I don't know why they have to put ads on these videos and articles. It's so annoying. It feels like they last forever. Oh, where's the volume?
I've been trying to figure out what I can do so I don't sit idle. I'm dealing with this repeatedly.
Sure.
I was just going to go in and get my kids because, you know, they're
How are they doing?
They've been doing good, as far as I can tell.
How about you? I mean, I know this is difficult on you. How are you doing? I mean, this is such... It's got to be a lot of emotions going on for you.
You know, people have been really helpful and supportive, so it's been really hard, but you know, you just keep going.
What can you tell us about that night? I mean, from what we understand, you went camping and then came home. Well, tell us what happened that night.
Yeah, a lot of times I just go camping with my boys, you know, not anything big. I just go overnight, and you know, we do s'mores and stuff like that. And so I just went with the boys. I was planning to do some s'mores in the morning, and we did. And then when we got home, well, on the way home, I found out that people were worried about us and we were missing.
So weird.
And the report is that neither you nor your wife called in sick, and they said that that's not usual. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's not usual.
Oh, crap.
I guess why didn't you call in sick?
You know, I didn't. I was somehow thinking that it was Sunday. So I didn't go to church, and I just missed a day and thought, we'll come back Sunday.
So you got confused on what day it was.
Yeah.
Now, from what we understand, there's nothing. Looks like no foul play in the home. It appears that your wife left her cell phone and purse. I mean, do you have any? I mean, does she go off to sort of maybe clear her head? I mean, do you have any idea where she could be?
No, she'll leave during the day, but she's never left overnight.
Does she have any enemies that you can think of that would?
I can't think of anyone.
Now, a lot of talk on the internet. I mean, obviously in cases like this, and you know this, they instantly talk about the husband. They think that he's the suspect, that he did something. Is there anything you want to say to address that?
I didn't do anything. I mean, I don't know where she's at. I don't even know where to start looking.
And the boys, I mean, what do you tell them about them all?
I haven't told them anything. I mean, they've overheard stuff, but I haven't. I mean, by the time it all started, I was already you know, it was already late, and went to bed.
Well,
It's been hectic ever since.
Now, your wife laid down that night, right? She wasn't feeling well, is that? And then that's when you went camping, right? Where'd you guys go camping?
Well, she wasn't not feeling well.
Oh, okay.
She was feeling well.
Oh, okay.
But she just went to bed.
About 5-ish, is that what we heard? We heard 5. I don't know if that's true. You would know better than we would.
Well, no, she went to bed that night.
And what time did you go camping, would you say?
I got out to a pretty late start.
9-ish, something like that?
No, it was later.
Okay.
Basically, I'm just trying to figure out what I can do, and both try to find her and try to take care of life in general.
Okay. Where do you guys camp?
We went down south to some trails down there.
Do you mean like Moab area? Or?
No. We actually just went down to the Pony Express.
Pony Express Trail?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there campgrounds down there? Or?
Yeah,
I'm not
I guess
familiar
there's
with
a
the
few.
area, so yeah.
But I guess I better go.
Okay.
get
Well,
some
good
things
luck to
taken
you.
care
We
of.
appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have you talked to other media by any chance?
Just one so far.
Thanks again. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
We are.
Wasn't that an awkward interview? Now, that interview was done on, I believe it said December 9th. Let me go back over here. It was done on December 10th. So right after Susan went missing. Now I got something else to share with y'all about Josh's brother. A very interesting article that Cement Shoes sent me. Now, police think that Michael helped Josh, and I believe that he did also. That's why he got rid of his car for $100. It was worth a lot more than $100. So this article says Josh Powell's brother lied under oath over wife's disappearance. Crap, I gotta accept cookies. So Michael Powell repeatedly lied under oath about communications he and his brother Josh Powell regarding the disappearance of his sister-in-law Susan. The lies came on October 20th, 2012, during a deposition tied to a legal dispute over Josh's life insurance. Josh had killed his 2 sons and himself 8 months earlier by setting fire to his rented home in Graham, Washington. Michael Powell had made a claim for some of the more than $3 million at stake. At one point during the hours-long deposition, attorney Ann Bremner asked him about his use on Facebook. "I almost never use Facebook," Michael Powell responded. Bremner asked him if his account was active and if it was listed under his own name. "I'm not sure," Michael Powell said before clarifying that he had created it while running for a seat in the Washington legislature in 2008. Michael Powell failed to disclose that he and his brother had created a Facebook account under a false identity and used it to spy on a group dedicated to locating Susan Powell's body. Let me just share this with y'all so y'all can see what I am reading. This is very interesting. Go back. Okay. So there's Michael, swearing to tell the truth, and he lied. Okay, so where is Susan Powell? West Valley Police became aware of the fraudulent Facebook account in August 2011, during what Cold first reported was an operation codenamed Tsunami. Detectives had secured a wiretap on Josh Powell's phone. I'm going to kill that lawnmower. And were monitoring his calls as they launched a public search of abandoned mines near Ely, Nevada on August 19th and 20th, 2011, looking for his wife's body. They hoped publicity of the search would spark conversations between Josh and his family members. They intercepted several calls between the brothers, including one in which Josh and Michael Powell discussed a Facebook account they had created under the name Molly Hunt 14 months before in order to gain access to a closed Facebook group titled Where's Susan Powell? Josh and Michael Powell believed this site to contain disparaging or harmful information related to Joshua Powell and his involvement in her disappearance, a detective later wrote in a search warrant affidavit. According to the affidavit, the brothers discussed the email address they'd used to register the account, as well as the password for that email account. Josh and Michael indicated in the intercepted calls their desire to monitor and possibly insert information onto this private Facebook group page to distract attention from allegations related to Joshua Powell's involvement in Susan's disappearance, the detective wrote. Now, Molly Hunt. The Molly Hunt account first appeared on Facebook late on the night of June 6, 2010. It immediately joined the group Friends and Family of Susan Powell and made a post on there. I feel so heartwarmed by seeing the support I see from you, Susan's friends. XOXO. I hope she is found very soon, the post said. The next morning, the Hunt account commented on another group member's post, asking how to access the closed Where is Susan Powell group. Hunt also exchanged messages with Susan Powell's close friend, Kirstie Hallowell, who administered the Friends and Family group. Now, the Cold podcast verified with Hallowell that she did not know Hunt was likely Josh or Michael Powell in disguise. A search of the Where is Susan Powell group confirmed that Molly Hunt account successfully joined the closed group. Acting on a hunch, the Cold Podcast attempted to log into the Molly Hunt Facebook account on February 14, 2019, using information gleaned from police affidavits. That attempt was successful. Cold immediately downloaded activity logs for the account. They revealed someone using a Comcast IP address in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where Michael Powell lived, had changed the password to the Molly Hunt account at 3:12 p.m. on August 20th, 2011, while West Valley Police had an active wiretap on Josh Powell's phone. At the time, Michael Powell was living in a condominium in Minneapolis. Just 20 minutes later, at 3:32 p.m., someone using a Rainer Connect IP address in Washington logged into the Hunt account. A federal search warrant tied to the case and reviewed by Cold confirmed that Rainer Connect provided cable internet service to the home where Josh Powell was living on that date. The Facebook record shows several sessions on the Hunt account during the month of October 2011, all from IP addresses in Minneapolis. Those included an IP address registered to the University of Minnesota, where Michael Powell was working and studying cognitive science. The last session on the Hunt account prior to this month's login came on January 22nd, 2012, exactly 2 weeks before Josh Powell murdered his sons Charlie and Braden and took his own life. Let's talk about the deposition. 2 months prior to the murder-suicide, Josh Powell made changes to the beneficiaries on his life insurance policy. He directed New York Life to distribute 93% of the money to Michael Powell. During his deposition, Michael made many other questionable statements. An essay critical of the police and of Susan Powell's family had appeared online days before the murder-suicide. It bore Michael Powell's name, but he denied making many of the specific allegations in it. Michael said he had never talked to his brother about his whereabouts on the night that Susan Powell disappeared. When asked for his belief as to whether or not Josh was involved in Susan's disappearance or death, Michael said he did not believe his brother had any role. He never gave any indication that he could have been involved. He just didn't act like it, Michael Powell said. Now, Michael Powell, when police questioned him, he also made it clear to police that if he did know something about Susan's disappearance, if he did know that his brother was involved, he wouldn't tell them. And I believe they informed him that that is like obstruction of justice. That was an interesting article. And I think not long after that, Michael killed himself. Is Josh's father still alive in jail? Anyone know? He actually died. Stephen Powell died after he was released from prison. Oh crap, now I've got my chat all messed up. I hate when I do that. Let me refresh it here. He died in prison. You know, he was filming like his neighbors' kids undressing. He was spying on them from his window with the camcorder, and he would watch them undress and shower and do all this, and he would zoom in on their private parts and everything. He did Susan the same way. He would gather up her toenail clippings from the trash, her used Q-tips, her cotton, you know, like the cotton balls you use to take off your nail polish. He would take those out, sanitary pads, you name it. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if Stephen Powell didn't sexually abuse Charlie and Brayden. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. Flush, there goes another load. 80's Predator. Oh gosh, I forgot to show y'all the video of Stephen Powell talking about Susan. Let me do it real quick. Let me go back and find this. I totally forgot about it. Now he's trying to say that Susan ran off with that reporter that was missing. Let me go back and find. I done closed everything out here. I think the whole damn family knew that Josh killed Susan. Now the kids, one of the kids said that there was like 3 people in the van. So who was those 3 people? 3 adults. Josh, I would say, of course, Susan, and I bet it was Michael. He definitely helped cover up for Josh. And I think he felt very, very guilty about it. And that's why he took his own life. Where is that daggone video? That weirdo. Gosh, Josh Powell looks just like his weirdo dad, too. Okay. Okay, so here's weirdo Steve. Uh-oh, there's an ad. Turn down the volume till the ad plays. I wish I could do a better job on this case, but I didn't follow it from the beginning. You know, like I've done the Jennifer Dulos case and other cases. It's a very sad, interesting case. Let's turn this up.
We would move on. They had Susan. They answer. It would be Josh's vindication. Then we would move on. They have Susan. They maybe have Stephen Kosher, whom we think she's with. I still believe that's a possibility. But we thought that would be the end of it. We thought they had them down there and they were just going down to pick them up.
He's a cracker jack,
maybe they had to get an extradition order of some kind and from Nevada, and then Friday morning they'd have a big announcement for us, and we'd all move on and live happily ever after. It just didn't happen. We're really disappointed.
So your belief is she's alive?
God, he's a weirdo.
Yeah, we believe that. We believe she's alive. We believe she left with somebody. We're not sure if she's still with that somebody, but I don't know. She probably is. That's all you want? That's all you want? Okay.
Year and a half, there's a lot to say.
Oh, yeah.
I told Josh, we're trying to keep it focused on what's happening.
We are hearing for the first time for the
Okay, he is a complete weirdo. I was going to say something else about him. I wish we could play this ABC News interview. Susan Powell's husband breaks silence, but I would probably get in trouble on YouTube for it. Let me see, is there any more videos of these weirdos talking? Oh, here is when Stephen Powell was released from prison Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. Let's take a look at it. He died shortly after that. July 23rd, 2018, he died. So about a year after he got out of prison. Okay, Ad, hurry up. He done like 7 years, I believe.
Anything you want to say, Steve? Anything you want to say?
Thank you.
Pissed off. Let me see if I can find what he said when he found out Josh had killed the boys and himself. So Steve Powell was actually convicted of 14 counts of voyeurism for shooting video and still pictures of the girls as they used a family bathroom next door. The child porn charges were thrown out by a Superior Court judge before the voyeurism trial, but were reinstated by an appeals court. So Stephen Powell is sentenced to 5 years in prison and is given credit for 17 months already served behind bars. Okay, let me see. Let me go back up to when this happened. Okay, when Josh's father, Stephen, is told about the deaths while in jail, he appears unconcerned by the news and gets angry at those that notified him. 2 weeks later, Stephen Powell would invoke his Fifth Amendment rights not to answer questions about Susan's case. Stephen was obsessed with Susan. Many think he knows what happened to her body. Now, what I find weird is, so Stephen Powell confesses his love to Susan, and she is shocked, blown away. She tells Josh about it, and they move away to get away from Stephen. And Josh still continues to have contact with his father, who is infatuated with his wife. You would think that would make him angry with Steve. So angry he wouldn't want to speak to him. I mean, it's just a weird family. The girls were only 8 and 10. I would have fed him to the sharks. Those girls are going to be scarred for life. I truly hate Stephen Powell. Hey, he's an evil son of a bitch. And you know what, Cement Shoes, right about now, the devil's poking him in the ass with a pitchfork. I could bet my bottom dollar on it. He went straight to hell in a handbasket. He went out of jail a year and he died. That's what you call freaking karma. That man was pure evil, and he warped all of his kids' minds. Why he was allowed to raise those kids, I will never know. I mean, his ex-wife, Steve's ex-wife, Josh's mom, claimed he showed the kids porn and everything. And he showed them how to mistreat women. Did y'all hear that part that I read about allegedly Josh would kill his sister's gerbils when they were young? And he pulled a butcher knife on his mom. And I believe that's the reason, one of the reasons that Steve raised him. Warped is the perfect word, yes. He totally warped their mind. And the one sister, Elena, she's a weirdo too. She knows good and well that her brother murdered her sister-in-law. Both of them did. I don't know if Michael participated in the murder, but he helped Josh cover up Susan's murder. I firmly believe that. Kids don't lie when they're trying to tell you a story of something that's happened. They may get something mixed up, but they're usually right on the money telling the truth. His soul is forever damned. Can you imagine being Susan and one day you're riding in the truck with your father-in-law? And this is like a father-in-law that's always touching you and being perverted. And he looks at you and says, I'm in love with you. He actually claimed that him and Susan were falling in love. Now, he says this to a news reporter. They were falling in love. And Josh still has something to do with the man. Somebody please explain that to me. Make that make sense. Deranged, unnatural, trash the whole family. Yeah, I noticed in that video Susan filmed, they must have been doomsday preppers too. Because did you see her point the camera to all those 5-gallon buckets? It was some kind of food. She said something about there's our food supply. The poor sister growing up, the dad says he was totally attracted to her when she came in her t-shirt and panties for breakfast. Sorry if that was said. I was so late. So he was attracted to his own daughter growing up, Morgan? That is sick. I am wondering if he ever molested those girls. He had to have. I mean, it's possible he didn't molest his own children, and I guess he was just attracted to other people's children. Oh my gosh, it's so sick to even say. But more than likely, if you molest one child, you'll molest another, no matter if it's your own or not. That's the way these weirdos are. That's Church of Latter-day Saints thing, I believe. Yeah, I was just wondering because Lori Bellow's a member of that church and Chad Dunbell, and they were preppers too. Bred to the bone marrow freak. Yeah, they're all freaks. The only one that's got any common sense is the one sister. What's her name? Was it Jennifer? Who is estranged from the family? That's the only one that's got any sense. She knows the family is warped. She got the hell away from them. I don't know if they'll ever find Susan's body. Someone may stumble upon it one day, a hiker or something. Predators are life unworthy of life. Yeah. Well, sex predators shouldn't be allowed to live out in society among us normal folks. I always say that, and that's the truth. Because there is no rehabilitation for sex offenders. I heard someone the other day, of course this person is really ignorant. They think they're really smart because they got these almost degrees, as they call them, these almost psychology degrees. But anyways, they were saying that pedophilia is a mental illness. Well, what? We're supposed to overlook it because they got a mental illness? Hell no. Hell no, we're not going to overlook that. If you ever been a victim of one of those weirdos, you wouldn't want to overlook it, and you wouldn't want to defend some weirdo. That pedophile that's been making his rounds on everybody's channel, what's his name? David Carter. He did an interview, what was it, with the Daily Beast or the Daily Mail. They paid him, and he told a bunch of stuff on Chris Watts, like Nicole Kessinger still secretly writes to him, stuff that cannot be proven. It's just hearsay. But anyways, he's a sex predator. And he molested, raped, whatever, 13-year-old girl. And some people don't think it's that bad. I think it's horrible, sick, disgusting. You can in his excuse, oh, I didn't know she was 13. I didn't know she's underage. That's what they all say. That's what all these freaking weirdos say. Bullshit. What people need to do is think, hey, what if that was my 13-year-old? Would I want somebody online making light of it and saying, oh, it's a mental illness? Screw that. I don't give a damn if it's a mental illness or not. There's no excuse for pedophilia. Bottom line. I wouldn't be caught dead at interviewing somebody like him if my life depended on it. If they said, oh, you're going to die right now if you don't interview him, I'd be dead. Y'all be coming to my funeral, paying your respects. They ruin normal people's lives. They're useless to themselves. They're useless to anyone else to get rid of them. The end. And let me tell you what this weirdo done. He got up on a live stream and said that he didn't have sex with that girl, that he did something else to her and said what he did, which was pure vulgar and sick. Nobody should give that weirdo a platform. They got these excuses. Oh, it's an interview. Newsflash, we're not freaking reporters. Have some morals, have some freaking integrity. You know? We'd miss you. Well, hopefully I live for a long, long time. Hey, I won't do stuff like that for views. I knew he was a pedophile when I first talked about him. There had been a video put out about him when he went on the Armchair Detectives channel, and he was arrested after that stream. But the Armchair Detective, now he did make people aware that he was a sex predator. A 13-year-old is a child. My son is 14 years old. He is highly intelligent, but he's still childlike, of course. He's still a child. And I always think to myself, what if that was my child he done that to, then got up on a panel and said, oh, I didn't have sex with her. I'm not even going to repeat what he said. I'll just tell you it involved fingers. That's all I will say. Now, he said that on a panel full of women. Does nobody ever sit and think, everybody's feeling sorry, well, not everybody, some people. Does nobody ever sit and think maybe he might become chummy with one of these women in this community just to get to one of their children? Because that's what predators do. They're opportunists. The only live stream for these pieces of shit that I'd be okay with is them being put to death. Yeah, I know it. It was the first time I breathed in 10 years. Hey, Vicky, they'll make excuses like she came on to me. I don't think so. Exactly, Vicky. A kid is a kid. And you're right. There is no rehabilitation. Charlie. Oh, I love the picture of Charlie. Predators need to be castrated. Yes. Y'all know I'm so ignorant. I thought when they castrated people that they really castrated them like they do bulls and horses. And dogs. They cut off their gonads. But no, it's like chemical castration. But they should do it the old school way. Like they do horses, bulls, and goats. Cut their dinglingers off. That's what they should do. Oh my goodness, it's sick. You know what? I guess I'll never make it big on YouTube because I'll never have anybody like that on my panel. It has really pissed me off and disgusted me. I have been pissed off about this for over a freaking week. Because I hear excuses like, oh, it's a mental illness, pedophilia is a mental... So? Freaking what? There's no excuse. Andrea Yates had a mental illness too when she drowned her 5 kids. There's no excuse. Anyways, I'm going to get off here, I guess, guys. Let me tell y'all something before I get off here. If you are a channel member, go over to my community post, if you don't mind, and vote whether you want me to do a channel members live stream or a Google Meet this evening. It's up to y'all. Whichever one has the most votes this afternoon, that's what I'm going to do. I'll try to do a stream for everybody on the porch today if I get some time. That daggone Mark out there. And he had to fire up that damn lawnmower, y'all. As soon as it was freaking delivered. It was delivered during my stream here. And he had to fire it up and mow with it instead of waiting until my live stream was done. Can y'all believe that crap? Dingalinger, bless you, girl. You make me smile. I didn't want to say balls shine on. Hey, Bluebell. I just tuned in. Hey, CC in chat. You're late, girl. You're late. Let me get you a late slip. I'm getting ready to get off here. I hate doing that when someone comes in and I'm getting ready to end. I feel like I'm being rude. It's the southernness in me, y'all. Us southerners, we like to have good hospitality. We like to be hospitable, however you say it. I can't even say the damn word. We like to be gracious. I'm choking to death. I gotta quit smoking. Anyways, I will see y'all. Well, I'll see some of y'all here in a little bit. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for your support. I hope I did an okay job this morning on the Susan Powell case. Oh, yeah, let me tell y'all something about our evening chats before I forget. So with our evening chats, I think I'm going to start doing some hot topics. Probably won't be professional like I try to do it in the mornings, but just sit out there and maybe discuss some hot topics. That way I'm just not sitting there rambling on about anything and everything. So we're going to try to have some topics. We'll still do our normal rambling on, though, after we get done with discussing whatever. Anyways, y'all have a great day. Be safe, be kind, and peace.